Hello, and welcome to the Armory. Today we are going to be talking about my go-to rifle, the Tavor X95. But first, if you like gun-related content and would like to see more, hit that like and subscribe button so we can bring you more content. Also, I would like to announce we now have a Discord server, and if you wish to join, the link will be posted below. Now, if you're new to the gun world, you may not be too familiar with bullpup rifles, except for what you may have seen in video games and in television. But what a bullpup rifle is one where the magazine and action sit behind the grip and trigger. Like in the Tavor itself, from the start was designed to be a bullpup firearm. In 1995, development was started on the Tavor by IMI, otherwise known as Israeli Military Industries, which is now called IWI, or Israeli Weapons Industry. And in 2001, the IDF, or the Israeli Defense Force, was looking to replace their M16 and M4 rifles with a more modern rifle. And they adopted the Tavor TAR-21, or Tavor Assault Rifle 21st Century. This rifle was especially ideal for the IDF, since a lot of their fighting is in urban combat and close quarters. The TAR-21 had a 16.5-inch barrel and came out to 26.125 inches in overall length, whereas what it replaced, the M4A1, has a 14.5-inch barrel with the stock fully extended, has an overall length of around 33 inches. The TAR-21 had a 2-inch longer barrel than the M4, but was still shorter than the M4. And like the M4, it uses the same magazines and is chambered in 5.56 by 45 or 5.56 NATO. The TAR-21 was issued and used in Israel, and upon feedback from the soldiers using it on the battlefield, the designers made improvements until 2008 when they were happy with the results. And not long after, the need for a shorter version with different chambering, such as 9mm, came up. So IWI got to work and made changes to the TAR-21 to develop the MTAR, or the Micro Tavor. So let's look at this. Both the TAR-21 and MTAR, or as we know it in the US as the Tavor X95, are both long-stroke piston rifles. Some most notable long-stroke piston rifles are the M1 Garand and the AK-47. In the military version of the MTAR, the barrel length is 13 inches, whereas the civilian version sold on the US market is minimum 16.5 inches due to the laws. The one I have here that you'll be seeing in a little bit is an 18-inch barrel, and currently I don't have a civilian legal AR-15, but when I did, this was still shorter than an AR-15 with the buttstock fully collapsed with a 16.5-inch barrel. Now, some changes that they made that both the MTAR and the X95 possess are changes in the magazine release, charging handle location, and other minor adjustments for ease of use, as you will be seeing here shortly. On the TAR-21, the magazine release was back here by the magazine, but on the MTAR and the X95, they moved it up here for those more familiar with the AR-15 or M16, M4 platforms. Personally, this makes transitioning from the AR platform to the X95 platform much easier. The charging handle was moved from the front of the rifle to back here, which also opens up rail space, which when you buy the rifle, it has 3 panels that hide the Picatinny rail system underneath. Also, the safety selector can be made ambidextrous, as well as the ejection port. Also, on the civilian version, it comes with a cutlass style grip, which I have actually from mine sitting right here. I removed mine and put a regular style grip on there. These rifles do come with built-in iron sights. They fold down into the rail system so they can be hidden if you have optics. I have mine set up so that if I have to use my iron sights, I can co-witness through the optic that I currently run. Now, I have not shot this suppressed yet. However, I am told that if you plan on shooting this suppressed, that you would need a gasketed ejection port cover. That way you don't get the gas blowback in your face. All right, let's take a look at the internals here. Today, what I'm going to pretty much be doing is field stripping this rifle. Here in the owner's manual, it does tell you how to field strip the rifle, but it also goes into a little more depth as to how to actually disassemble the rifle completely, as you can see. But as I said, we're going to disassemble this to the point of a field strip. One thing you can use is you can use the tip of a bullet to do this. But what I'm going to be using is this here. So let's pop the butt plate pin out. Once that's popped out, the butt plate will fold down and you can remove the bolt carrier group. Okay, now we got the bolt carrier group removed. We'll set that to the side. Then you take this pin here until you hear it click. From there, you can remove the bolt retainer, which I will use this to help. As you can see, that holds your bolt and your firing pin. You can pull your bolt out, firing pin spring, and your firing pin. And that's as far as we are going to go on this. From what I'm told, IWI has a video on this, and a few others do have other videos on the bolt carrier group. Some can be, if I remember correctly, some can be interchanged with the TAR 21. And then we're going to come over here and pop out the firing control group. So pop that pin there and this pin here. And as I said, you can use a bullet to do so. And then firing control group just comes out like that. And pretty much that's a field strip on this rifle. As I said earlier, when you buy these here in the US, it does come with a cutlass grip. I decided to change mine out here for the more standardized grip. For me, it's more comfort. But let's go ahead and put this back together, and we can talk a little more about this. So I like to put my spring back on the firing pin, put the firing pin back in, and one thing you want to make sure is it sits in the groove right here. You might be able to see it. Yeah. So it sits in that groove. Let me pull this back out so you can see. So this part right here sits in the groove right here so that it moves back and forth when it's needed. Going to put our bolt back in. Sorry about the extra noise. That's just War Rabbit doing his thing. I'm going to line up the hole, and if we look over here, you can see this indent. That's pretty much your keeper. And it is very important to make sure it is lined up just like that. Then we just pop that and we're good to go. Let's go ahead, before we put the bolt carrier group back in, let's put the trigger package back in. Pretty simple. Pull the door down. Now, if this does come loose, it can be a little bit of a pain to put back in, but not too much. I've had to do it a couple times. Just slide it in, close it, pop your pins. Pretty simple. Put the bolt carrier group back in. just like that. Close your butt plate, pop the pin. Now you're back together. For this video, I do have a 20 round magazine, thanks YouTube. You can see it's empty. We're going to put it in here. Some features. Charging handle here on the side, like we discussed earlier. It does have a last round hold open. So this button here, that flap that we saw with the trigger group to take it out, releases the bolt. You do have your ambidextrous safety here, which you can make ambidextrous. This is how it came from the factory. I'm a right-handed shooter, so from the factory, I had to make no changes. You can always swap the charging handle here over to here. It's an ambidextrous setup. For me, I prefer the foregrip and the bipod. It was my choice. That's why we have these Picatinny rails, so you can put whatever attachments you want on it. Here you got your iron sights that are built in from the factory. I do have them sighted in. I also have this M21 Mepro sight. It is a reflex sight. Unfortunately, I can't really get the reticle in the picture, but it just uses the fiber optics, does not use any batteries whatsoever. The IDF used to use these, but from what I've seen, they've gone to a newer optics setup. Off the top of my head, I can't remember its designation, but I will put it in the video what they actually use now underneath where I'm talking. So yeah, and this is a fairly comfortable rifle to shoot. It's very easy to use. It's going from the M16s, M4s, AR-15s. It's very familiar feeling as you have your safety here, which on the M16, M4, and the AR-15, your safety's right here with where your thumb is easily able to grab it. Your magazine release, it's there. Unfortunately, this is a new magazine. It's stiffer, so it doesn't just pop right out like one of the old metal mags would for me. But yeah, this is my go-to rifle. It may not be my favorite semi-automatic rifle, but it is my go-to. And we will be talking about that a little more in another video. But overall, I've put hundreds of rounds through this. Over 500 rounds I've already put through this. I would trust my life with it. It is a really good rifle, in my opinion. So much so that I used to have an AR-15, and after I got accustomed to this, it took me a little bit getting used to the whole bullpup configuration, as I've really not been a fan of bullpups until this firearm. Am I going to say it's the best bullpup? No, I don't have enough experience with bullpups to say this is the best or not. So I'll leave that to the bullpup aficionados. But I got rid of my AR-15 after I got used to this because it is a shorter package. For my needs at the time, it was a lot better for me, as my work at the time entailed me to have something more compact. And this was easier to maneuver in a environment where it's a lot tighter. This firearm has become very popular, not just in the US with civilian shooters, but other governments use this rifle, and some also manufacture under license. For example, in the US, the Pennsylvania Capitol Police have been seen with this rifle, as well as some forces within Azerbaijan, Colombia police, and forces in Thailand. The Ukrainian forces have also been seen with a licensed copy of the TAR-21 and the X95, known as the Fort 22 series, as seen here. These Ukrainian soldiers are armed with the Fort 224. So in short, this rifle is truly a modern firearm that is highly reliable and battle tested. It packs a punch for such a condensed package. If you like firearm related content or you wish to learn more, hit that like and subscribe button. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and if you wish to support what we do, visit us at thearmoryhub.com. If there's anything you want to see, let us know in the comments below. Links are in the description. We will see you next time at The Armory.